where we'll be talking today about pricing and upsell strategies. So I'm looking forward to this session. This is going to wrap things up for us. So we're going to be talking about closing and taking everything together. We took everything together and kind of rounded it off, you know, came kind of a full circle regarding mobile marketing in last week's session. Now it's all about closing the deal, making sure that once you added all of that value, once you gave the business owner all of that value, that they actually give you money and you're able to ask, basically ask for the money. Because I remember I think it was one of my aunts who told me this, that she used to work back when I was back when I was like a little kid and in the U.S. She was doing, I think it was with like Mary Kay, if I'm correct, and they used to have these big presentations where she would present to all of her friends and show them all this makeup, and everyone would be so excited about it. They'd want it and everything. But then when she got to the end, she said she was always too shy. She could never ask anyone for money. Now, we don't want to do that. We're in the business of providing value, but also getting compensated for that value. So, question: who, like my aunt, feels nervous or guilty for taking, let's say, $5,000 from someone? Let's put a good price on this, so it's not just a little bit, not like $100, but $5,000. Tell me. All right. Anyone? If nope, Jason says no. Dennis, okay. So it looks like we have quite a bit of brave people here. Comfortable with that? All right. Paul, how about yourself? Possibly. All right. Well, who on the other hand feels comfortable giving Enrique $5,000? Hey, take out. Well, if you have your mobile phone on you, take out this. I wanted to make it fun, so take out this. Jason says, "Hell no." Take out your mobile phone. Just scan this, just so we could stay with the mobile theme. If not, I gave the URL right there, and but I'll play it. And just because sometimes this doesn't work, I want to make sure everyone has the URL. So let me drop it in here as well. But I'm gonna play it right here. All right. And so if you don't see it, I apologize. Let's hope that it does work. If not, then
Oh, have I got your attention now? Good. Because we're adding a little something to this month's sales contest. As you all know, first prize is a Cadillac Eldorado. Anybody want to see second prize? Second prize is a set of steak knives. Third prize is you're fired. You get the picture? You laughing now? You got leads. Mitch and Murray paid good money. Get their names to sell them. You can't close the leads you're given. You can't close shit. You are shit. Hit the bricks, pal, and beat it, because you are going out.
The leads are weak.
The leads are weak. The fucking leads are weak. You're weak. I've been in this business 15 years.
What's your name?
Fuck you. That's my name. You know why, mister? Because you drove a Hyundai to get here tonight. I drove an $80,000 BMW. That's my name. And your name is you're wanting. And you can't play in the man's game. You can't close them. Then go home and tell your wife your troubles. Because only one thing counts in this life. Get them to sign on the line which is dotted. You hear me, you fucking faggots? A, B, C. A, always, B, B, C, closing. Always be closing. Always be closing. AIDA, attention, interest, decision, action. Attention. Do I have your attention? Interest. Are you interested? I know you are, because it's fuck or walk. You close or you hit the bricks. Decision. Have you made your decision for Christ? And action. AIDA. Get out there. You got the prospects coming in. You think they came in to get out of the rain? A guy don't walk on the lot lest he wants to buy. They're sitting out there waiting to give you their money. Are you going to take it? Are you man enough to take it? What's the problem, pal? You, Moss.
You're such a hero. You're so rich. How come you're coming down here and wasting your time with such a bunch of bums?
You see this watch? You see this watch?
Yeah.
That watch costs more than your car. I made $970,000 last year. How much you make? You see, pal, that's who I am, and you're nothing. Nice guy? I don't give a shit. Good father? Fuck you. Go home and play with your kids. You want to work here? Close. You think this is abuse? You think this is abuse, you cocksucker? You can't take this. How can you take the abuse you get on a sit? You don't like it? Leave. I can go out there tonight. The materials you got make myself $15,000. Tonight, in 2 hours, can you? Can you? Go and do likewise. AIDA. Get mad, you son of a bitches. Get mad. You know what it takes to sell real estate? It takes brass balls to sell real estate. Go and do likewise, gents. The money's out there. You pick it up, it's yours. You don't, I got no...
All right, so that was our little bit of a movie time for us to introduce this week's session. Question. Well, not really a question, but if it takes brass balls to sell real estate, it takes brass balls to sell mobile marketing. And there are people that are waiting to give you that money. And I don't say that because it's just in a movie, but this is true. Why is this? Because there are businesses out there spending, wasting away their money, wasting their money on the yellow pages. We went over that in I think it was the first or the second session, on yellow pages, on Groupon, wasting their money, dying to get more leads, increase their business. But they need someone to revamp their marketing efforts. And they want to pay you for it if you can show them the results. But people just have to step up and take it and give them the value in return for it. Now, luckily, we don't have any ladies out here tonight. But if anyone later maybe watches this on a replay, then no offense, and I might be a little bit fired up tonight. So just a little bit of a disclaimer, just a little bit of a warning. Now, question. What if I said that instead of 5,000, the 5,000 that I went out there, the cost was actually zero. The cost was actually zero. Now, Jason, I know you say you don't agree. You say it does not take brass ones to sell mobile. It takes going out and asking for the business. Now, let me let me say one thing, because with our different coaching clients, with our different masterminds, from the people that we've encountered, I know the mentality of the typical person. Now, I do want to also say that the group that we have here, I think you guys are very, very advanced. And I like that. I like that. You've done quite a bit and you are very advanced. And saying that mobile is an easy sell is true. But going out there, getting in front of business owners, it's easy once you do it a couple times. But doing it, taking that action, is huge. And you do have to get up. Get up, pardon my French, but get up off your ass and do it. Even if you're scared of that rejection. So, if it costs nothing, that has nothing to do necessarily with the worth, Dennis, and that's not what I'm trying to communicate. Because if you can show them the value, then it really should cost nothing. If you could show them the ROI, if in return for $5,000 they have an increase of $10, $15, $20,000 in business, then in theory it really does cost nothing. So what I'm going to go over today is how to upsell on $2,000 packages. We're going to do that towards the end. Talk a little bit about closing and negotiation tactics, so that rather than your standard prices and sometimes what you limit your own mindset for, you go in and close for a much, much higher price. And that's the end. Those are those 10 seconds. If you do everything right, everything went well, those are those 10 seconds. 10, 15, sometimes 30 seconds of negotiations that could really change your financial situation. Just because that fear sets in. That fear sets in, you start getting a little uncomfortable. It's like, if you ever worked in the corporate world, and I know this myself because I used to work in the corporate world, I had a couple discussions with my employers and regarding pay. And those discussions, oftentimes just a couple minutes, sometimes a couple seconds, if it was really, once again, we get back to those brass balls, just having that courage to ask for more, stepping up and asking for more, asking for really what you're worth, and negotiating correctly, that then would set my salary and my financial situation sometimes an increase of 20, 25%. I remember one time I had an increase of, yes, it was 25% just by asking. That's it. And that was set. That's something that can't change then later on once you start doing that actual work. And it's the exact same thing here. So this is going to be an important session, and I think you guys will like it. Agenda. First thing we're going to go over is the psychology of the close. Get into the minds of the business owner. Talking about the yellow pages, leveraging, number one, the yellow pages, leveraging Groupon for the close. Am I breaking up? Am I breaking up? Jason. Everybody else. Is it me? Am I breaking up? No? Alright, now it's good? Okay, cool. I don't know why I left QR code strategies in there, but we are not going over QR code strategies. That's from last week's session. Negotiations, referrals, pricing, upsells, and then rounding it off with some homework. All right, the value proposition. What's behind the psychology? The bottom of the slides are cut off. All right. Is this better? Let me. How about that? Is that better? Okay. Jason? Wrong direction. What do you mean? All right, I'm going to let Avi mess around with it. I'm going to let Avi mess around with it because on my screen, it's completely fine. So maybe this is what I could do. How about that? Is that better? Jason, yes? Yes? Is that a little better? Okay, cool. All right, so the value proposition. Decision making. Does okay, I'll kick you. I know why that is because you're in here twice. So let me kick you out on one of these. Is that better, Dennis? Tell me. Is that better? Okay. The value proposition. How does this work? Number one, there's two things that go into every decision. Part of it can be logical. Sometimes we make logical decisions, and it really does make business sense. It's the best thing for us. But there's also emotional decisions. We're just in the heat of the moment. We don't know, long term. It's like you get angry. Someone just cheated you out of some money, and you just want to get that revenge. You don't care at all if you're going to lose even more money, if you lose thousands and thousands of dollars, but you're just so angry at that person that you need to get back at them. And so there's these different types of decisions. And when we approach business owners, what we want to do, number one, of course, hit their logic. Does it make business sense? Yes. Is it going to help my business? Will it make me money? What is the return on investment? If I give you, Dennis, $2,000, will that then in turn result in an increase of business over, the next year? Will it bring me $5, $10, $15, $20,000 of business in return? Can I justify this? Now, what about the emotional decisions? One big one, and I showed this to you, is what are my competitors doing? That's why when you go in there showing them, hey, your competitor has this site, but you can blow them away because look at all these templates that I offer that I developed myself, even though they're the Squeeze Moby templates, but they're your templates now, so you can take credit for them. What are my what are my competitors doing? And I like these templates, and this way I would blow the competition away. Even though I can't see any ROI in this, I just want to be better than my competitors. I'm a type A competitive guy, and that means more to me than making money. I already make enough money. What about, these designs are just stunning. I just have to have them. It's like that, that apple pie, that warm, fresh, baked apple pie. You just have it right in front of you, and you just gotta have it right there. You just gotta eat it. You can't resist. Hey, calories. Maybe I shouldn't have this apple pie, but you just can't resist. You just gotta have it right then and there. Same thing. These Squeeze Moby templates. You just gotta have them. They're just so stunning, and I wanna have this professional, nice image. Even if no one really sees them because Uh, when they search, I don't know, plumbers, Tennessee, I'm on the 5th page, so I'm not gonna get any traffic anyways. But it just looks so good. I just gotta have them. I'm gonna show them off to everyone. Everyone I see, I'm gonna take out my phone. And same thing. People like with the iPhone. Is it really gonna improve their communications? No, but it just makes them feel good, feel cool. It massages that ego, that emotional decision. But the thing that I do want to say is, and just give me one second because my sound here is going off, is that what about the feeling of it being the right decision? Now, this is something I want to cover because everyone has to somehow rationalize that decision. So even if it does not really make logical sense, for example, if the ROI might not be there, that it won't make me money. It's like that question, It's like you want it and you're like, you yourself, like you want that dress shirt when you're gonna be that suit, that real nice suit, you know, and you ask maybe your spouse, maybe your wife, you'd say, hey honey, like this is gonna give me a good image, it's gonna help me, help me with my meetings, right? You just need that confirmation it's an emotional decision. You don't really care, but you just need to kind of have it validated right there and then in that moment. And that's something that you always want to remember when you're going in and discussing this stuff with these business owners, that even though maybe it's going to be more of an emotional decision, they have to have some way to validate it. And that's why you got to throw this ROI and show them at least some projections, some predictions on what the results will be. Even if, you kind of put the disclaimer, hey, we're not going to know until we do this, but this is what I'm anticipating. So that they can then go back and rationalize it, that it's the right decision. Now, the psychology of the close. It's essential that you properly communicate the value proposition. Show them logically that you hit both of those things. So number one, you do want to hit the emotions, but you also want to substantiate it. You also want to show them, hey, this really does make sense. Logically, let me show you the value. Let me show you where the value is. And how Hey guys, sorry about that. Can you hear me now? Okay. Okay, cool. Sorry about that. Yep. Don't you love technology? I do too. Now I'm hardwired in. I like the Wi-Fi so I can walk around when I do these sessions. But all right, we'll work with it. We'll work with what the cards we've been dealt. What about if it does not make sense? Once again, kind of went over this already, and but they want to do it emotionally. You still got to provide something so that they can rationalize it. And and another thing, and this kind of directly leads into our next slide and where we're going to be discussing, is that people want to feel good about the emotional decisions that they make. They don't want to have that buyer's remorse. And this is something that you do have to keep in mind, is that after you get some money from anyone, whenever you kind of deliver something, people want to feel good about it. So and why is it important? Okay, number one, you did get their money, so some people are like, oh, I got the money and everything, but that's bad business. That's you don't do that at all because your customer, and you always have to think about this. It's the extended sales funnel. That extended sales funnel. You get your foot in the door, maybe with a landing page, but the business does not stop there. The landing page then turns into a mobile website. It turns into the mobile website then starts turning into an SMS campaign and a full-blown mobile package, which then leads into some social media campaigns and management. Then maybe even if you don't do it yourself, you know someone and you work with that person. You do some reputation management. You start working on their SEO. Um, you see, that's the thing about a client. I would much rather have, and and I was talking about this with Avi as well. For example, he has one client that he started. He used to back in the day. He used to source clients off of Fiverr, and he sourced this one client off of Fiverr. And you would think, hey, $5, I'm just gonna get in, get out. No. This client, I'm not sure exactly how much, but this turned out. I would estimate, and Avi can correct me if it's more or less, but just from knowing what Avi does with his clients, probably into about over the span of a year, $20,000 to $30,000 client, and that's just one client starting, and that started off with being sourced off of Fiverr. So that's what I'm trying to communicate here is that extended sales funnel, getting your foot in the door with the landing page, and then continuing with different upsells, upselling on different types of packages, so that you can then continue to build that relationship. All right, and what about with buyer's remorse? What is buyer's remorse? Now, someone buys something, they're like, I spent $5,000, and at that moment they felt good about it. They really thought, hey, this $5,000 mobile marketing package that I'm going to invest in, it's going to completely revolutionize my business. I'm believing the hype, everything. This, of course, this consultant Enrique, he wouldn't lie to me. Um, But now I'm starting to doubt it. Now my business partners, hey, did you really think about this? Think through, blah, blah, blah. And some people might make that decision in the moment, but then they get a little buyer's remorse. How do you mitigate that so you can build that relationship? Number one, you never want to treat your client, bad. So one really good, easy strategy, but it goes such a long way, is just set them up with material. Number one, a follow-up email. Definitely right after meetings, always follow-up emails. Just, it's simple. It's so easy, but it really kind of puts everything into stone, but also a welcome package. So let's say you sell them on on a mobile site. You know, send them that welcome package which outlines boom, 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 all the information that you need from them, whether it's logos, the size specifications, whatever, everything. Just get everything there so that they have something kind of physical. They could feel, hey, this is already moving, and this guy, he cares about me. So that's one way to kind of mitigate buyer's remorse. What about perceived value? What about perceived value? Now, who believes here that and and I know what you're going to say because I know you know better. But who here believes that time kind of directly correlates with money? That hey, your value is 10, 15, 20 bucks an hour. And you should be paid by the hour because that's the way it goes. That's the corporate mentality that's been driven into us. That hey, you're getting paid on an hourly basis, and that's just the way the system works. And since the system works that way, who just got in here? All right. And since the system works that way, that's the way it is. Jeff, I don't believe you. Because time does not equal money. Time does not equal money. Um, and the reason, same thing, I mean, easy example. Hey, would you pay Bill Gates? Do you think, I mean, he should be, he's worth $1,000 an hour? That's a ridiculous sum, right? For most people, $1,000 an hour. Some people make like $1,000 a month. You go to other countries, that's like, you go to like third world countries, that's their yearly income, probably some places. So that's ridiculous to charge someone. But that's not the point. The point is, and let me ask you this question. If I give you I like this example. If I give you a 1 hour strategy session that you pay me $5,000 for, in turn the result is that you make an extra $10,000 this month, and that's not including the impact that it'll have next month and then the month after that and then throughout the year. Was it worth it? Was it worth it? Tell me. Was it worth it, or is that still ridiculous amount to pay for that? Even if it's just a simple trick, I hook you up with that right contact that's going to just crush it for you. And I see Trung, I see Paul saying it was worth it. It is. Why? Because value, time, it's not about the time spent. It's about the results. Jason, totally ridiculous. It's about the results. And that's what you kind of have to start adopting this mindset for business owners. Hey, let's start focusing on results. What type of results can I generate by implementing this? And that's how I should be compensated. You know, once I get my systems and processes in place, I mean, I'll be closing these $5,000, $10,000 deals, and I'm just going to close them. Then I'm going to collect it, but all the work is outsourced anyways. They're just going to implement it, and boom, I just go on. So, theoretically, I may be made in those in that meeting, that 2 hour, 1 hour meeting, I made, hey, $5,000 because I'm not implementing any of it. And some people, actually most people, 99% of people would say, it's theft, that we're robbing as entrepreneurs, even in this even in this democracy, we're robbing people, that it's unfair. But these are the same types of people that just have a very constrained and limited mindset, and these are the type of people that are working in corporate jobs. And unfortunately, I have many of these friends. I know many of these people because, yes, I do know also a lot of entrepreneurs, but from family, from people that are around me. I used to be in the corporate world. These are the same people that will tell you, hey, I send them. They're the same people that are going to complain about their job. They'll complain how they hate their job, how they want to become an entrepreneur, how they're maybe jealous of your success, and and that they want you to help them out. For example, one of my friends, I was like, hey, you want to change up your lifestyle? I sent him to this webinar that was packed full of value. I told him, hey, start with this. It's a good starting point for him. Sent this webinar that was packed full of value. Comes back the next day. He laughs at me. He's like, that's a bunch of bullshit. It's like, all right, great. You know, yeah, I like you as a friend, but business-wise, I mean, if you don't change, if you don't have the right mindset, then you can't change. And it kind of upset me because this was the same information that I got off that webinar, a couple months, maybe a year before I told my friend, that then I implemented into my business, and it made me a lot of money. So I knew myself from experience that it wasn't bullshit as some people would take it. And last thing, I have no problem taking your money, and you should have no problem taking other people's money, conditional upon providing that value. So, because if I provide you in turn with at least double the value, results, a return on investment of 200% is a very high ROI. That's a very high ROI. Extremely high. Now, what about the first close? Who's still here? Who's still here? And I want you to be honest with me. Um, either who has not closed a mobile marketing deal? Tell me either yes, I have in the past, or no. I just want yeses or nos. Okay. Great, Paul. Jeff, I know you haven't. Okay. Okay. So other than Steven, okay. And whose first, just for my information, whose first close was within the past, let's say, 4 to 6 weeks or 4 to 8 weeks? Hey, that's fine. Dennis, I'm still proud of you. All right, Steven. And Steven and Dennis, you guys will like this then. Yeah, talk about underpricing. Avi can tell you a lot about underpricing when he was starting out. Oh, he used to do he used to do Fiverr gigs for $5, like these PowerPoints, and I would come. He would spend 4 hours for his $5 gig. Like, you're crazy, man. You're crazy. But but he's at a somewhere completely different today. Now, the first close. The first close in the beginning, and Steven, I also want to drive this because I think this will be you guys will like this. It is okay to underprice yourself. Maybe doing it for a family or a friend, someone really, just to get that experience, just to get that momentum going. Because the experience is so essential. Because how do you build confidence? I mean, some people just have it internal, but let's, not go into too much like Anthony Robbins stuff, which I could talk to you as well about for hours at a time. But just talking about confidence, and it's by getting these reference experiences, these reference points that you get slowly as you do. You do, you close, you learn, you get more experience, you get more confident. Trunk says it took me 5 to 7 contacts to get one close. The single most important thing, I believe, when you're starting out in any type of business, anything at all, is to get that momentum going. You know what they say? Say the first million is always the hardest. The first million is always the hardest. And whether it's the first million or the first close, the first deal, the first one is always the hardest. Once you get those reference experiences, it's a piece of cake from there. You just start learning, you start doing, you start implementing. And nothing really has to be, it doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be set up. It never is. It can't be without that confidence, without that experience. But the most important thing is to just get going. Start moving forward. So for the first close, just remember, hey, it's okay. It really is okay to underprice yourself. But do that for a maximum of 3 deals. You could do that because in the beginning, the experience is much more important than making money. Because you will see later the rewards. But then it's time to get what you're worth. So, doing $100 to $300 price points. But think about this. Would you rather have 100 clients at $200 to $500, even if theoretically they required 1/10 of the work, theoretically, or 10 clients at $2,000 to $5,000? You tell me. You tell me. Which one? Which ones would you rather have? Of course, everyone's going to say the 2,000, 2K clients. It's an easy peasy question, but people get this, in theory, it's all these things are easy concepts, but when it, actually comes time for implementation, we forget these things. And we're like, all right, let's do 200, 500 bucks. And on top of that, the funny thing you'll find is, and I know, working with different clients, so I'll bring this back to Avi once again. For example, with this $20,000, $30,000 client that Avi has had, of course there was a lot of work involved, But this client would often put that trust in Avi because he was already paying that much money. So since he was paying so much money, he would put the trust and let Avi run with it. Meaning that he wasn't that difficult. He wasn't that difficult to make. Whereas these $5 clients that Avi started out with on Fiverr, they pay $5 for something. $5. $5 for something. And they feel like, someone owed them the world. They'd want edits to these different PowerPoints. It's $5, come on. You gotta be, and I'll tell you, I'll go into a little bit of a tangent because just because of what we kind of I'm sure probably a lot of you have seen the emails that I've been sending and different things. I mean, whether it's with the offline side and managing clients like Avi does, or with some of the online things that we've also been focusing on, it's crazy because, for example, we put out some of these products that we put out, with the offline side of things, we under no condition do we take low price clients anymore. No condition. In the beginning, yes, we did. I do have to say, I will admit that, some of them, it's like it's kind of a money thing. But with the online side of things and developing also the products for the Warrior Forum community, putting the stuff out that we use in our business, we'll put something out like we recently sold the directory. We'll put something out for under $10, and the type of demands that people try to make, it sometimes just it just sometimes kind of boggles my mind. And I know sometimes people that like invest their money and they're very sensitive about that. But still, it just kind of really really boggles my mind. And so the lesson to be learned here is a lot of times these really cheap clients are actually the ones that are very very difficult, unfortunately. So also be careful with that because even though it's 100 clients, they could be twice as demanding. And plus, trying to manage that and having that all in your head, all these clients wanting to talk to you as the owner rather than maybe on someone underneath you, you can't devote the necessary time to them. So what about the yellow page method, the Groupon closing method? And I know some of you do. Who knows how much a yellow page ad costs in their area? Jeff, I know you know this one, but anyone else? A full page. Steven, can you give me, okay, £5,000. Steven, what about yourself? A full page. For a full page ad per year? Let's see. Monthly. That's better. Dennis, what about, and is that monthly or yearly? Okay. All right. Well, moral of the story is once again, it's expensive. All right. It's pretty expensive, and like Steven said, 2 to 3K per month is quite a bit, especially for a method that's dying, that's vanishing. Same thing with Groupon. We went over this in the first or the second session. How much businesses, and even some calculations, how much businesses are losing by investing in Groupon. Now, what does this mean? This is great for you because these businesses already get it. They understand that marketing and advertising are essential, that without marketing, their business does not exist. They don't have the fuel. Their business is, you know, almost can be non-existent without marketing. So the key for this is find businesses that are already ineffectively spending their marketing dollars. Whether it's Groupon, whether it's Yellow Pages, that are either losing money, they're overpaying for stuff, they're just not getting the results there, and then implement something that's going to get them results, that's going to revolutionize their business, and get them results. Get them results. All right, so the Yellow Page closing method. Uh, you shouldn't really have to work that hard. You shouldn't have to close that hard. It really shouldn't be that difficult to close later on. Why is that? Because how do you go into this? You go in by asking a few questions. So once again, how much do you spend on Yellow Pages? How much did you lose in Groupon per year? And then leverage that ad spend, those dollars that they're already spending. Because if it's not on Yellow Pages, what other forms? It could be Groupon, but there's other forms. For example, print, that is not as effective anymore. Any types of print advertising. And if you can deliver more value, more results for less money, it then becomes a very easy close. It becomes basically a no-brainer. So the key thing is for you when you go in there is to find out towards the end, especially when you're doing this close, how much their lead is worth. And I know we had a discussion about this. Some people like different types of statistics, whether it's one lead, cost per acquisition, different types of metrics. But the principles behind it are all the same. Find out, hey, how much, how can I quantify the type of results that I'll be able to get for you? How can I quantify them? How can we do simple math so that when we go back to psychology of the close, you can rationalize this? And your implementation of a full-scale marketing campaign should have them at least one new customer. Minimum one new customer. It's much more, but let's be conservative. It's going to be maybe 5 to 10, but hey, let's just scale it down and let's just do one. So if and targeting these high profit niches, lawyers, dentists, chiropractors, $5,000, one customer, one new person that then walks in the door, starts becoming their customer, could be $5,000. And if they're low profit or busy niches like restaurants, pizza places, a lot of these clients have lower prices, but the thing is you can make these campaigns a lot more viral. You can get actually a ton of these customers through the door. So it's still fine. Now, what about implementing one of these methods? How many new customers do you think it could bring you per year? Because if you tell them, great. They understand theoretically, yeah. But if they tell you themselves, then they actually believe it. And when they tell you themselves and they actually believe it, then they're making these conclusions in their head themselves, and they're convincing themselves that they should go with you and spend some money for your services. So the key is to really lead them through a set of questions that will make them realize their value so that they can come to their own logical conclusions. And and they basically kind of have to say at least one. In reality, it should be even 5 to 10 new customers, at least one. So let's go through a little bit of math, you know, and you kind of say, hey, if we do the match, shouldn't it really cost, should it really cost you anything? It should be kind of for free. When that question of money comes up, you can tell them, hey, it should be kind of for free, because you're getting a minimum ROI of, and you put that math in there, and it makes sense. It all then makes sense. Now, they provided all the answers, and they came to their own conclusions. Hey guys, can you still hear me? I don't know what's going on with my internet today. Yeah, let me. Okay, cool, 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 cool. Apologies about that. All right, let me. I don't know what's going on now. Do you guys still see the presentation? Let's see. Let me bring it back up because it's not working for me. All right. All right, cool. So, back to this. With this ROI, so if you do the simple math, you should be at least getting a minimum ROI of, if you can rationalize 200%, then great. And providing all the answers, they come to their own conclusion. So you just outline the plan, show them the value, and then come full circle and tie the loose ends. All right, so basically the yellow page closing method is you want to, and I'm going to take you through exactly kind of the questions that you want to ask so that you can bring them to the close. Well, so let's say you're talking with Joe. Um, Joe is Joe is a let's say Joe is a dentist. Okay. Joe's a dentist, and Joe has a yellow page ad that's it's 1/4 of a page, and let's say he spends only only $5,000 on it. Okay, so hey, once again, Joe, just want to see your yellow pages per year. How much do you spend on those? Did you say it was like around 5,000? He's like, yeah, around 5-6 thousand dollars. Okay, well, we went kind of over plan that I would implement with some of the SMS marketing and building your mobile site. Just combining all these tactics. Well, do you think that would bring you more leads than your current campaign with the yellow pages? By default, showing them the value, and if it's Groupon, then it's a little bit different, because rather than them spending, it's more that Groupon is a little risky, because they're kind of acquiring these leads, and unless they have that sales funnel really set, then they're putting their business at a great risk. But so if it's with Groupon, then explaining that you could still get leads, but they'll be paying you maybe the full amount, and these leads are a lot less risky and less costly. So on top of that, approximately how much? Let's say let's do uh, a lifetime value of a customer. And even though you might not have calculated, I'm sure you have kind of a number in your head. Approximately how much is one lead worth to you lifetime? And with the high profit niches, between $5,000 and $10,000. So implementing one of these methods, how many new customers do you think we could bring you per year implementing this full-scale mobile marketing campaign? And they'll just say probably between 5 or 10 if they're being kind of conservative. And you drop down, all right, let's say two or three, right? So let's say be conservative and say only two, and with $5,000 per lead, it's about $10,000 in value. Now tell me, how much are your yellow pages bring you, or are you even tracking it? Are you not sure? Not sure at all. Do you think this would be more effective than implementing the yellow pages? And in all, hey, in the end, this really shouldn't cost anything at all. If we do the math right here, this shouldn't cost anything at all. Because, and then once you start going into the pricing, you've set up, you set it up. You're basically it's like kind of like dominoes. You're setting up these pieces, and then we're just gonna knock them down. And so let's talk a little bit about pricing and how what goes, all the things that go into pricing. One of the first things is a business owner doesn't really understand what goes into either building a mobile site, an SMS campaign, or whatever. They don't understand the actual delivery. They'll get it, they'll get the mobile site, they'll be able to play around with it, but most of them, they can't really conceptualize how it's going to go unless you kind of outline it for them. And with regards, to even just doing things that might be common sense to you at this stage, but for a lawyer, for someone who's non-technological at all, it's just rocket science, and they're not going to be able to comprehend it. And but they might also sometimes think that it's a little easier than it really is, which means that you kind of have to build up the value. And the good thing though is that it kind of automatically makes you an expert. So how do you build up the value? I want to see who here, when you go into that close, who builds up the value? Let me see. Who builds up the value before kind of then dropping the price, showing them, hey, this is going to be going into this, and you don't have to put pricing amounts on each thing, but before you go in the close, building up the value. Okay, Dennis. All right, Paul. All right, cool. Glad to hear that. Because that's how a real good close gets executed really well. This is how you execute a close really well, is if you build up the value. And everything we've been discussing was building up the value. Hey, how much are these leads worth to you, and how much is the value of the results? All right, so let's show you the value of the results, and now let's actually show you the value of everything that has to be put into this so that this can be done. So outlining also, charm and good looks can be enough sometimes, but not always. Depends who's sitting across the table from me. So outlining the steps that it takes, in about just kind of like 30 seconds. So whether discussing, hey, the different logos and certain logos in the HTML, putting in the redirect script, FTP, and just throwing words that maybe confuse them, perplex them a little bit. Also, to build up how technical it's going to be and all the things, all the expertise that's gonna be required to make this a reality. And because otherwise you say, hey, mobile site, and if you just leave it at that, people are like, okay, it's gonna be easy. What's so hard about that? But when you start going into kind of, hey, the back and all the editing and all the things that I'm gonna have to do to make sure that it's delivered and it's optimized and it's correct, then you're building up the value, taking them through that process so they understand the complexities, and then setting it up so that in their mind they're thinking, hey, this would take me an enormous amount of time. Number one, to learn, then to implement and execute correctly. And I probably wouldn't execute it correctly. Plus, it's going to take, let's say it's Dennis. Plus, it's going to take Dennis quite a bit of time. So I know, number one, I'm going to get results from it. But he's also going to put a lot of work into this. And when they start kind of thinking that, then that's when you can kind of drop the price down towards the end. But so yourself, kind of, it's, hey, you know it's gonna take me from your different experiences. Once you do it once or twice, three times, hey, this is gonna take me. This is the rate, the speed that I work. These are my processes. This is how long it's gonna take me. Um, and then, once you do it a couple times, you start believing in the results. But but before then, you might not necessarily believe in it, and that could be a little bit of a problem because that's when you kind of want to underprice things. You think, hey, you make that mistake of, hey, this isn't gonna take too long when it really there's a lot of things that go into it that you might not see. So, for example, um, what about the back and forth communications, the little edits, all those things that take a lot of time, all the thinking that take a lot of time. And I'm trying to see Trung. What? Speaking of not like it. And all the time, all the back and forth. And I'll look at that after. Okay, cool. Thanks for that, Jason. And let me take that down and look at that so that maybe I could put it in the resources area under the session today. That might be a good thing to put in there. So thinking about also this kind of all this back and forth communication that goes into it as well. The value you're providing is immense, but as you gain more experience, kind of the opportunity cost will also increase for you because you can't. Same thing with us, for example, Avi and I. I mean, I can't take on a client that's going to pay me, $200-300 more. It's going to require all this back and forth communication. Is going to feel privileged. Hey, I just spent all this hard-earned money, and I want all this time, all this kind of babysitting. I mean, just for me, I don't, I can't do that at this stage. It's just not worth it anymore for me to do it. And that comes with time, that comes with experience. But you wanna realize that you don't want to underprice yourself because you're not confident, you don't have those experiences or those results. First, like I said, one, two, three times, okay. But after that, don't do it. And also, people, they don't think things through. They always underestimate the amount of time that it's going to take a lot of, for a client. And because their systems and processes might not be in place, they don't have it down to a T. So get that out of your head and just realize that you are the expert. So I'm going to go into a little bit of a case study of kind of what's possible and why you definitely shouldn't underprice yourself. One of our students, Les, absolutely zero experience in mobile. Didn't even have a website. Didn't have business cards, nothing. All those things. Hey, I gotta get my business card set up. I gotta get my website. He did $16,000 in his first week. 16 grand. 16 grand. Exactly. How did he do that? That's for a longer discussion, but not really. I mean, he just took action. He did, I think, he probably saw about maybe 100 potential clients that week. That's how he did it. And he wasn't also scared to sell them on two, three, four, $5,000 packages. On top of that, even though he had no idea how he was going to deliver these packages, say, hey, I'll figure that out after. That'll be my learning grant. Let's go into a little bit of the negotiation. Some people say, hey, never set the price first, but I've been doing a little bit of research as well, and it's interesting because with you being the expert, sometimes it's a little cheeky if you don't set the price first. So just wanted to kind of throw that out there. You might want to set the price first, and plus, it's not you know it. Oftentimes, it's not really who sets the price first that is in a weak position because often the end result price is much closer to the price that was set first by the first mover, kind of the first mover advantage, um, than what the other party had necessarily in mind. So it's not necessarily that setting that first number is always a weakness. So just keep that in mind, but always come in with a plan. Come in with a plan. Come in with your own number in your head. Even just put that number and be confident with it. I would recommend don't have a price sheet because also when you're gauging through these things, how much a lead is valued, how much they value a lead, how many leads this can bring into their business, all those things, then you can after that kind of set your price, and sometimes it could be higher. So the problem with the price sheet is it is set in stone. Now you want to have a number set in stone in your head, but this is not necessarily the one you're going to drop. You might, if the conversation's going really well, it they believe that you can get more results for them. By all means, charge a much higher price, and you know go higher. It's much better to go higher as long as the price is not ridiculous. And which, if you can show them those results, if you can deliver that value proposition, it shouldn't be. And one thing I want to point out: how can you have room for a discount when you originally priced your landing page at 197? How? It's tough. On top of that, don't use approximations. So don't say, hey, that would probably be between like $3,000 and $5,000. No, because obviously, you number one, you want to be confident. You want to be exact. Like that package in my mind is $3,000. You want to be confident. You want to be exact. And with the approximation, of course, the lower number counts. So there's really no point of doing an approximation at all. Um, on top of that, also, sometimes you want to be the final decision maker. You want to look like a big shot, right? The CEO, it sounds cool, or the owner. But hey, um, and I'm going to get into the good cop, bad cop sometimes. Actually, not sometimes, but it's actually good to be able to say, hey, have someone to blame stuff on. And who does this? Who plays good cop, bad cop with their clients? Who plays good cop, bad cop? Let me see. Anyone? I'll give an example. Before I go give an example using signs, don't be when this is this is a huge one. And this is where it really takes that confidence. When, for example, you throw a price, let's say you say for this package, 2,500 bucks. All right? And you put that price down there, and it's that moment, the moment of truth, that moment of tension. You feel the tension between, in the room. But being fine with just being silent, being fine with that, dropping that price and not being like, oh, this package is $2,500, and then you feel a little bit of awkwardness. But we could drop it down to maybe 2 or 15. Even though there was no response, you didn't gauge any type of response. The other person can then already feel you backing down, not having confidence in what you're going to be delivering, not being afraid of that silence, but dropping it there with confidence. Let me tell you a little bit about the good cop, bad cop. And you say, hey, Joe, you're a really great guy. Good time with you when we're creating your marketing strategy. I want to work with you. I really do. And from my perspective, I would love to give you a 10% discount on this. This is our set price, and I think I can give you a 10% discount. I'm gonna try to give it to you, but I gotta warn you that my business partner, Avi, he's really tight with the finances, and he's the one that makes the final decision on this. This is how we have it set up. I'm gonna try to convince it, but I do have to run it by him, and hopefully I can convince him. I understand, you kind of wanna, that might be a little, stretching your budget a little bit, and I'm gonna try to do that for you, but I'm not sure if I could get it through. Let me get back to you on that. And that way, you set yourself up as the good guy, the good cop, and put all the blame on Avi. So that even in follow-up calls, and you never, Joe never gets to meet Avi. Joe never gets to meet him, but you set it up so that in case there's any bad news that you have to reveal, any bad news, any uncomfortable moments, any uncomfortable raises in pricing or any changes, you always have someone to blame it on. Jason, I like it. Jason, I like it. Sure, sure. Okay. Um, Give me a second. Yep. Um, Give me just a second. I just gotta check this right here. Okay. Okay. Is that Avi? Just wanted to make sure if that's okay. If you can confirm that. Okay. Cool, 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 cool. All right. So, and I see cool, cool. Now, let me all right. Let's wrap this up. I was going to give you a story, but we do have only a couple minutes left, and I do want to also take some questions as well, and I still have a couple things to go over with. Waited 3 minutes before the guy spoke. 18,000 pounds. I like it. Exactly. That's the moment of truth. Yup. Steven, also, in exchange for something. Always when you drop the price, then maybe decrease the amount you're delivering. Decrease the amount you're delivering. So always blame it on someone else. It's always good. And build that relationship so you're the good guy. You're never that bad guy. And you never want to be the final decision maker, or you can be the final decision maker, but someone has to also concur with you. You might have a partner as well. Now, if you set up everything and they still won't buy, if you did everything right, you built the value, you're a good guy, you're nice, you get along with people well, they feel that sincerity from you, just ask for referrals at the end. Always, 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 always ask for referrals, because then you don't have to worry about cold leads, but all these leads then turn into warm leads. Because if they like you, then they will give you referrals. And you might not be able to help them achieve their marketing goals, but they might know someone who you can help. So always give the referrals. And it's easy. Just, hey, I was wondering, I always like to network, and I understand, maybe we're not at this moment in time. Maybe we'll work some other time with each other, but maybe at this moment of time, it's not, I won't be able to add the value that you need, or you might not have the budget for it. But how about, do you have any other business owners that you could refer me to? Because all these business owners, they all know each other. So ask for a background as well, because turn that cold lead into warm lead, not just a referral. But hey, tell me something about them, and could you maybe make an introduction via email, and then we can kind of catch up, turning that cold lead once again to warm lead, so you could stop doing walk into the cold calls. And if you get these business owners, and you could even say, hey, I have a referral program that if I do end up closing them on anything, I give 5% to whatever, that package that we work on, that we kind of, and maybe it's a $5,000 package. So hey, it's a nice way you can make a couple $100. Now, let's go into pricing. Let's real quick cover pricing. What do you charge for these? And these are rough, rough, rough. It really depends on your level of customization and how much time you're going to invest in this. So mobile landing pages, $300 to $500, depending. For example, if you integrate that social media, for example, our social fusion landing pages, you want go over, towards like the $500 mark. If it's just a regular landing page, $300. Mobile sites, once again, using our template, $700 to $1,000. Honestly, if you're creating a customized solution, then that's when it starts getting expensive. But I'm talking about the templates. When then you could go up to two, even three grand, depending on how customized it is. SMS campaigns for management, $5,000 to $1,000 a month, with 500 setup fees, including a table tent, initial follow-up messages, the stock 4 messages per month, just the setup. If they want to manage it themselves, fine. If you add a viral component in it, then you want to up that. You want to really kind of run also the analytics and figure out how to optimize that. QR code setup with just an integration, putting them on some flyers, on some table tents. The thing is with this, you're probably going to have to combine it with the landing page to do a package, but $300 to $500, and then a total type of package, $2,000 for the setup fee, and then $1,000 for the monthly management. And that's including changes to any type of mobile site, landing page. You include those changes for free. Have someone have that part outsourced, but also managing the SMS campaign. So upsells. Get results first. Get your foot in the door with that landing page. Deliver something. Build that credibility. Build that relationship. Build the trust. And then come back. Do another audit. Come back with another audit. You started with the mobile audit. Come back, do another audit. The one that you're going to most directly lead into is the social media. Starting out, setting up a fan page, and then management, whether it's through Hootsuite. But that's what you're going to most likely upsell on first. Then you can, branch out to reputation management, SEO packages, whatever. But the thing is, the main thing is if you deliver value and results with your first project, then of course they're going to take you on again and again, as long as you do the exact same thing, because they know that the value is going to be there, making the upsells easier. And then it's the same client, so it's better to manage the entire platform rather than just a little piece of it, and have one client managing their mobile, their social media, while doing some rep management. If you're expanding as well to SEO, then doing their SEO as well for them. So that kind of wraps it up for today. That wraps it up for today. I really wanted to go into that psychology, building up that value for these business owners when you get to the end of your presentation, how to build it up, then knock those dominoes down and continue that relationship through upsells. So first thing, my main homework assignment that I want you to do as we come, because today is that last session. That last session. We've come a very long way from session 1, when we were just talking about lead generation, going then through mobile sites, talking about SMS, the viral SMS components of those campaigns. And I know I still haven't gotten you a link, but I have tried myself personally. I have not been able to touch base with Dave. So just wanted to throw that. It's not that I forgot about anyone, but he's just not been responsive at all. So apologies about that. And preparing an action plan. So since we came that long way, how are you going to implement all the things that you've learned so that you can now take your business, you can start selling on these entire packages, adding the value that we built up in your presentation, and then closing on that. So preparing an action plan, because I'm really a firm believer in creating plans, even though they change, but putting that number. And I'll tell you, one thing. I'm a very, and I'm not going to tell you what it was, but I did have a goal of a monthly amount that I wanted to reach, an income number that I wanted to reach with all of my business dealings combined by the end of the year. And I wrote it down. I wrote it down. I wanted it to be in writing. And I just want to say, it's so powerful. I had that number. It was in my head. And even though there's still 1 month left, I did personally reach. I did personally reach that goal. So just wanted to say, um, and Jason, yeah, you could go there. I thought I was going to be able to get you some type of special deal. Um, I thought I was going to be able to get you some special deal, but unfortunately, I am not sure that that will be possible. All right, if I can, I will let you know as soon as possible. So, yeah, but sometimes there's some type of bonuses when it's through someone, and we could work. I could work something out, maybe drop the price down for people. Um, that's always an option, or just get some other kind of maybe additional training or things like that along with it. But unfortunately, not. So let me know what's going on. Hit me with some questions. Does anyone wanna get on the mic? Does anyone want to ask any questions before we wrap this up? Let me know. Anybody have any questions before we wrap this up? This is the last session, so want to see if anyone has any questions. Trung, Jeff, I see you guys typing. Erotic massages, Trung. Um, hey, Trung, do you know, let me, are you being serious, by the way? Are you being serious? Okay, get in touch with Mobile Monkey Master at gmail.com, and he actually has a template that he kind of created as a joke that we gave out as a bonus, but it's kind of like that call girl niche. All right, if you do that, Trung, if you get a close on that, you have to get in touch with me. I will give you some type of special deal on something. Okay? Did you get that email down? Yeah? Email him right now. Or put your email in the chat, and I'll get you the erotic massage template. So you could. All right. Any more questions? What's up, Dennis? Hit me. Oh, in a hidden way to their customers. I mean, with that, I mean, an SMS, an SMS campaign is not the best, of course, right? SMS campaign is not the best. Uh, what you can do is, I mean, if someone opt-ins for, they could have SMS, but they have to knowingly opt in. Knowingly opt in. Um, the other way is you can have an email capture in there, in that it might go to like a special email address. Once again, knowingly opt in into that email address. But the main thing, I mean, with one of those landing pages, um, a lot of these people, especially with erotic massage, yes, there is a lot of repeat customers, but especially you're in Germany, right, Trung? You're in Germany. And so there's a lot of tourists that come to get these erotic massages, and when they're looking for this stuff, they're looking on their mobile phone. They're looking on their mobile phone because they're out with their friends, whatever, at the bar, and they're just trying to kind of go somewhere. It's not like necessarily a planned thing. It might be a bachelor party, whatever. So they're having a mobile site and having that tap to call button, but having that tap to call button just on a landing page is essential, even if they don't have an SMS campaign, because of the confidentiality. Just having, for example, a coupon on that tap to call, on just that tap to call that's there maybe all the time. That if they kind of flash it, not even getting on an SMS list, because that communication might be a little tough. But maybe by an email, that then kind of there's a little more secrecy there. Or you can when they opt in, there could be the first thing is, hey, encrypt and lock your phone so that, because we will be sending these, please text stop if you don't want to be getting these. Does that make sense, Trung? So, with the SMS, are you going to be able to protect them unless they have an encrypted, locked phone? No, they have to knowingly get on there. The SMS can be good. Some people will get on there. You're not going to have as high of an opt-in rate as you do, for example, for a restaurant, because of this confidentiality aspect. But there will be some people that will get on there. Maybe they'll just think it's fun. But then you could even drive some of those people for the SMS. So I would still recommend that. Um, it's just making also sure that that stop button, not button, but that you can text stop, and it's via Trumpia or another provider that actually recognizes that, and it's not just poorly done, and you can't stop those messages that are coming in. That's another thing. Um, let's see. Dennis, I know you had a question, I think. Let me see. Ooh. Dennis is saying, hey, how can we get in touch, stay in touch? Did you join the Facebook group? And Dennis, are you in our Squeeze Billionaire group? Is anyone not in that group? Who's not in the Squeeze Billionaire group? I just wanted to say, we do, so if you want to have kind of ongoing, where there is like an hour-long session, they're not, and I'll tell you, upfront, that these sessions that I did were much more targeted. They're much more in depth. But let me give you this, just in case anyone's interested. I it's gonna be it's on Sundays right here, and you could sign up with a $1 trial. There is a session actually in 15 minutes. And Avi, can you actually um put the link in there? We'll let you come to this week's session, even whoever's not in, even who's not in. Um, let's put the link in there so that you can have a link to it. We'll give you this week's link just in case you're not in. You can check it out. You can see how it's run, and then if you wanna try it out, you can try it out later. And just put that link, and we'll be on there in about 15 minutes, okay? And I'll be talking a little bit about QR codes. I'll be talking a little bit about QR codes. So you might like the session. Um, a lot of the stuff I covered last week, but it's not going to be as in depth. But what we could do is maybe one of you guys, we'll see. I'll 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 talk also with Avi and Neil about that. Okay. So does anyone have any more questions? Because I have to run and I do have to prepare actually for the session we're having in 15 minutes. And hopefully also see you on all the coaching sessions. We're going to be talking about traffic a lot this week, which might be interesting for a lot of people. So I hope everyone, guys, by the way, are you getting all the emails for the mobile directory? Yes? Actually, I didn't send out any emails. But you should be on that webinar signed up. So come to all those webinars. Come to all those webinars. Yeah, I'm trying to limit it. I'm trying not to send out many, but a lot of them are from like affiliates, so. All right, well, let's wrap it up here, and I'll see you all at these at different sessions. Did you so do you get three emails, Jason? Really? Um Jason, oh, that's why. It's with different addresses. Yeah. I was gonna say, hey, Aweber is not and let me finish up this recording. So, thanks for coming out. Hope you all had a great 6 weeks, and I really appreciate you